And joining me now, staff writer for the Washington Free Beacon, Elizabeth Harrington, and Washington Times columnist, radio host, and Fox News contributor Tammy Bruce. Tammy, let's start with you. And since I'm surrounded by ladies in this segment, what do you think of this business about the fact that he's hurt himself with women?
Look, his mistake was that he did answer a hypothetical. This is, I think, an example of his lack of experience. I would advise any candidate, you don't answer hypotheticals, especially with social issues that are set, like abortion. My contention is, and I'm not on the Trump train, I'm an independent conservative, but the reality is that in all the exit polls for the Republican dynamic, the issues that matter are national security, jobs, and the economy. And if those are important to you, Trump is the one you like best. This will carry through. Women know that abortion is done. Gay marriage is done. I consider those boutique issues. The other issues are existential issues. Mr. Trump is still the strongest. Ted Cruz has got to begin to convince people that he's the one people can turn to on those dynamics. All
right, Elizabeth, let's check in with you. What do you make of this? All the word about the fact that women are going to be against him, and you heard Tammy saying national security, jobs, and the economy. What is it for women?
Right. Well, I do think Tammy is correct. Single-issue women voters who are only going to the polls because of abortion, I don't think are likely to vote for Trump anyway. But what I think will be interesting to see if these kind of bad couple of weeks that Trump has had, if it will have any effect against him. I mean, we've seen throughout this campaign that he can say whatever he wants and it doesn't hurt him. There are some signs, however, that in Wisconsin, the GOP voters there have been a little turned off, and we see that in the polls with Ted Cruz rising.
Yeah, but how much does this hurt, though? Because every candidate has, every election I can remember, every candidate has stumbles. Tammy?
Well, look, I think most people expected this to go from a revolutionary candidacy to a regular routinized presidential candidacy, and they haven't seen it. And I think that's what people are worried about now, is that it wasn't necessarily just a fun game, that this is really the guy. And they like the strength, absolutely, that's key, but now they might be seeing things that have an impact on the nature of decision-making, how you apply that strength, and people are getting serious. So they're seeing this not as being a bad moment or a few gaffes, but his nature, and this is his issue. I also now don't believe that he'll shift away into some kind of other demeanor. Otherwise, we would have seen it by now. And as a woman, that concerns me. As Americans, in general, that should concern them, I think.
Elizabeth, with all the news about the money and the groups and the establishment and everybody else coming out on anti-Trump matters, does that backlash to where some people say, I don't really care one way or the other too much, but if they're against him, I'm for him?
Well, right. I think this really anti-Trump campaign, and the strategy right now, it really is Cruz and Kasich being spoiler to prevent him from getting the delegates he needs, and then have a contested convention to get another person in there. I mean, that would really have bad backlash for people that maybe aren't necessarily even supporting Trump yet, just because people will say, hey, he's winning. If he has a big lead, come to the convention in July. They're going to say, hey, you know, he won, give it to him. And I think they don't like this tendency by these sort of so-called establishment types to choose the nominee, and I think there would be tremendous backlash there.
If I could just add that it would be a big mistake, I've said this before on this very program, to misjudge the mood of the people. They see what's happening. This mood is based on, yes, a rejection of the so-called establishment, and if their answer to that is to make moot everybody's efforts for the last year to dismiss the votes, to eradicate the dynamic of what matters to the American people, that alone will reinforce the reason why they wanted to get rid of the establishment candidates.
None of us have ever seen this before, where a party, any party, Democrats, Republicans, take on any of their candidates, leading or not. So it's pretty amazing. But we just heard from the state treasurer in Arizona, Elizabeth, that they go out and they're trying to recruit certain delegates so that the delegates are going to make the decision, not you and me, unfortunately.
Right. I think that's really dangerous. I mean, either way, you have, kind of problems that Trump has presented, right? You have people within the Republican Party saying that they will never support him. But he has a big, strong base of support as well. And if you try to take it away from him if he's winning, you know, fair and square come July. I mean, it remains to be seen. But that will be a huge problem, and it's kind of the same on the Democratic side. You have all of this enthusiasm for Bernie, but then they have the superdelegate system, and they'll feel like their votes don't count.
Yeah, rigging the vote. All right, Elizabeth Harrington, Tammy Bruce, both of you, thank you very much.